few weeks ago, a colleague of color said to me, "White women always need time." I asked her to explain that more to me, and she said, having the time to think and ponder something is a luxury that can come with being white. She doesn't have that luxury. If she's in a meeting and a racist comment happens, she has to speak up or let the moment pass, which reinforces unjust behavior. This wonderful colleague of mine said that all too often, she is in a meeting with white supportive colleagues and an uncomfortable moment happens and they all complain about it in the bar afterwards, but in that moment, none of them speak up. She said this actually happened to her at a recent town hall meeting, and when she asked her colleagues in the bar afterwards why they didn't speak up, they said things like, "I didn't know what to say. I was afraid I'd say the wrong thing. I panicked. Or I needed time to think." This discomfort around speaking up in the moment sounded all too familiar to me. I am the artistic director of WAM Theatre, a professional theater company here in the Berkshires that works at the intersection of arts and activism. And I realized in that moment that if I truly believe in a culture of empathy, equity, and belonging, then this discomfort around speaking up in the moment is something that I have to learn to move through, and I have to do that now. It is my responsibility as her colleague, as a change maker in this community, and as a human being, to own the power of my privilege and speak up. Over the past few years, I have actively been learning how to do that in both my personal and professional life. I was inspired to co-found WAM after reading the book Half the Sky, Turning Oppression into Opportunity for Women Worldwide by Nicholas Kristof and Sheryl WuDunn. The thesis of the book is that the oppression of women and girls is the seminal moral issue of our time. The book believes, as I do, that if we can tackle the oppression of women and girls around the world, then the myriad other issues that I care so strongly about will have a better chance also. When I put the book down, I knew that I wanted to find a way to use what I do, which is theater, to benefit women and girls. But I knew that I didn't have the personal capacity to write a big check to all those brave and courageous people who are out there on the front lines dealing with issues like forced prostitution, or sexual trafficking, or gender violence, including honor killings and mass rape, or maternal mortality. But I knew that I did have the skills to put on an entertaining evening in the theater, and I wanted to somehow turn that into my activism. This year, WAM celebrates 10 years of creating opportunity for women and girls through our unique mission of theater as philanthropy. Our unique mission means that for every production we do, we donate a portion of the box office proceeds to an organization that's out there taking action for women and girls. Since co-founding WAM in 2010, we have produced 12 main stage productions featuring the stories of women and girls and written by women playwrights, which is amazing when you consider that less than 20% of all plays produced nationally are written by women. Plus, our unique mission means that not only do we provide paid work to professional artists, but we have also donated $56,500 to 15 local and global organizations who are taking action around such issues as girls' education, women's leadership, teen pregnancy prevention, sexual trafficking awareness, midwife training, and more. Our donations, for example, have helped women who want to engage in their civic duty take leadership classes, or girls who are in middle school who are the first in their family to think about going to college, go on a college tour. We have helped women in our county who are battling cancer and experiencing financial challenges get an emergency grant. We've helped keep girls in school or provide scholarships for young women to study with professional scientists. We've helped women rebuild after earthquakes, and we've helped immigrant women who are the victims of domestic abuse gain the help they need on their path to a green card. I have poured my heart and soul into WAM for the past 10 years, and along the way, I have learned a ton about myself, my community, and the power of speaking up. I have learned, for example, that I have way more resilience than I thought, that I'm able to ask for help when I need it, and that it's okay to say these 3 powerful words, I don't know. I have learned not to say, I just run a small theater company, and diminish the very real impact of our work. I have learned the infinite value of building relationships, especially with people who are not like me. I have learned the complexities of the word woman in today's society and the value of including men in the conversation around women's issues. I have learned how important it is to really understand the word intersectional and to work hard to engage in dialogue around these intersecting issues of racism, homophobia, ableism, or transphobia, for example. And I have learned how hard it is to have conversations with people around women's issues if they think that there aren't any anymore. And along the way, I have learned about the plethora of amazing people in our community who are doing that hard work of trying to create opportunity for every member of our beloved Berkshire community. And over again, my eyes have been opened to the very real struggles that people in our community are going through, and to all those who are doing everything they can to help people overcome those struggles. And over again, I have learned about the constant struggle of wanting to give up. Because for me, with my personality, it always feels too hard. And then I think about my wonderful colleague at her town hall meeting, or the amazing women featured in Half the Sky, or all the people in the Berkshires working so hard for a better life. And I know that I have to find a way to go on. After all those people are trying to survive. I'm just trying to put on a play. I always refer to WAM as my PhD, and I really always thought that that's where all my growth as a person and an activist was happening. And there sure has been a lot of that, like the day that we received this painting. In 2017, the beneficiary for our fall production was the Soldier On Women's Program. This is a program for women veterans who have experienced homelessness and who are working their way back to an independent life. Many of them have experienced trauma, and the program works with them so they can live on their own again. Many of the residents came to our closing performance where we make our check presentation, and some of them shared their story with our audience after, which was incredibly moving. And some of the residents just sat quietly, taking it all in. A few weeks after the play had closed, the Soldier On artist in residence at the time, Nathan Hanford, came by the WAM office with this painting. He said that Ashley, a resident of the program, had started work on this painting entitled Hummingbird as soon as she got home from the play. She was quite a quiet woman, so Nathan was amazed to see what she was able to express through her art. And when she was done, she wrote these words on the back. Hummingbird is about enjoyment of life and lightness of being. Hummingbirds symbolize adaptability and resilience, the quality of being present, independence, playfulness, and joy in our daily lives. When she was done, she told Nathan she wanted to gift the painting to WAM, and so he delivered it for her. And that is a moment that I will never forget. I cried upon receiving it. We all did. But in that moment, Ashley gave me a bigger gift than WAM had ever given her. You see, a few months before WAM received that painting, all my hard work at WAM came crashing in on me when my marriage collapsed unexpectedly. Everything that I had worked so hard for, a fulfilling job, a meaningful relationship, a comfortable home and life, were gone in an instant. And so began a life of constant and authentic discomfort, intense personal exploration, and very little hope. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for months on end. Every moment trying to figure out what had happened to my life and how had I contributed to what happened and what would happen to me now. And slowly but surely, in that discomfort, I started to realize that even while I was being a social entrepreneur growing a nonprofit built on turning oppression into opportunity, I wasn't really examining how I might be contributing to oppression, how in my comfortable middle-class white life, I was reinforcing systems that prevent true empathy, equity, and belonging, both at work and at home. I had to reckon with myself about how in some ways I am the poster child for many characteristics of the very culture that promotes white privilege: perfectionism, a sense of urgency, defensiveness, either-or thinking, fear of open conflict, just to name a few. I had to face the shame in myself about how I had caused pain and hurt to colleagues and loved ones by insisting on having things my way, or by not speaking up when things were uncomfortable. Living in this constant discomfort for the past 18 months has shown me how much I still have to learn about what it really means to turn oppression into opportunity, and how I won't be able to do that in any really meaningful way in my life or community unless I accept my own privilege and all the responsibility that goes along with it, which includes, most importantly, learning how to adjust my own behavior. I would posit that part of the role of being men and women in today's society, especially cisgender, heterosexual, able-bodied, middle-class, white men and women, is to learn how to adjust our behaviors when communicating with people who are not like us. And all too often in our world today, we aren't doing that. We are doing what I was doing before my marriage collapsed. In order to maintain our comfort, we are expecting those around us to do all the adjusting. So, I have been working really hard on learning how to adjust my own behaviors, and WAM and I are reaping the benefits of it. My friendships are more authentic and deeper and more honest, and my communication with my valued team at WAM is better than ever. It is not easy. I have to work at it every day, and it's pretty much always uncomfortable. But it's worth it. So as my reckoning with myself continues, I have become brave enough, for example, to include a land acknowledgement before the curtain speeches of our WAM shows, acknowledging that we are creating our beautiful, art-filled life on the sacred homelands of the Mohican tribe, and understanding that that land acknowledgement is a very basic first step. Or including my preferred pronouns, she, her, hers, in my email signature, or in my introduction at meetings, or when working with the WAM Teen Ensemble, as a way of acknowledging the full spectrum of genders that exist. And I'm working on doing this out in the world also, so that if I'm in that town hall meeting with my colleague and a comment happens that is inappropriate, I won't complain about it in the bar afterwards, and when asked, say that I didn't speak up because I needed time to think about what to say. Instead, I will take a deep breath into my discomfort, and I will speak up in the moment, which is terrifying. How can I do that when my heart is beating fast in my chest and I'm afraid that I'll make somebody mad or angry or I'll say something wrong or stupid or disrespectful, which is normally what stops me from saying anything at all in those moments. I know that I won't do it right all the time. Failure will happen. People will get angry and defensive. Toes will get stepped on. But for me, I have no other choice. If something happens that is racist, sexist, ageist, classist, or whatever other ist you want to add to the list, I must continue to learn to use my privilege as my power. I must tolerate the discomfort, and I must try to earn the label of ally by speaking up. I would encourage us all, wherever we are on the privilege scale, that we are in a reckoning in today's society. And while the unexpected breakdown of my marriage is what catapulted my own personal reckoning, each of us is facing it in our own way. Mine means that when my body is at its most uncomfortable, like right now, or the feeling in the room changes and my breath gets shorter, that is when I know that I have to find a way to speak up. In my own way, in my own words, ideally with calmness, grace, and respect. So I encourage you, wherever you are on the privilege scale, that if you truly believe in a culture of empathy, equity, and belonging, then we need to continue to do the personal and deeply challenging work of tolerating our own discomfort around accepting our privilege and speaking up. That is our responsibility and our greatest power. Thank you.